If you accidentally spilled a glass of milk, you wouldn't pour out the entire jug. You'd wipe it up, move on with your day, and life just continues. But for some reason, when it comes to our own lives, especially in those normal moments where we're trying to get things done but we're slightly off, we do this quiet mental version of pouring the whole milk jug away without even realizing it. And I think procrastination is where this shows up the most, because it's never really one big obvious decision where we go, I'm not doing anything today. It's usually way more subtle than that. Like, you just sit down with something you were supposed to start, you tell yourself it's fine, that you'll just check your phone for a minute, take a quick break before you log in, and then without even realizing it, you've kind of slipped into this weird state where you're not really resting, but you haven't even started yet. And the longer you stay in that space, the more that task starts to feel slightly heavier in your head, not because it changed, but because you delayed entering it. And now there's this weird resistance building up that wasn't there in the beginning. I felt like this a lot of times, and you can feel it happen in real time, where you know you should just start, but instead of starting, you start negotiating with yourself a little bit, like telling yourself, I'll start after this, or let me just reset my head first, or even, I'll make sure to do it properly in just a bit. And to be honest, when I told myself these words, it sounds harmless. But what actually happens is we're actually pushing the starting point further and further away from where we are right now. And I've noticed this in my own life more times than I can count, where I'll literally be sitting there aware that I'm delaying something I could just begin and get it over with. And it's not even that I don't want to do it. It's more like there's this momentary discomfort in re-entering the task. Like I've already stepped slightly out of the rhythm of the day, and now I'm waiting for a clean moment to get back in. Funny part is, that clean moment never really comes. So instead of just starting late, what usually happens is we start labeling the entire situation as unproductive, off, like today's kind of a waste, or I'll just restart tomorrow. And that's the shift that actually happens, not in the procrastination itself, but in the meaning and power we attach to it. Because the reality is nothing actually went wrong in that moment. The task is still there. The time is still there. Most of the day is still fully intact. But mentally, we start acting like something has already ended. So we behave differently inside it. We slow down. We drift more. We stop trying in the same way, and we kind of let the rest of the day dissolve into that story that we just created. And the thing is, it feels completely justified when you're in it. It feels like you're being honest with yourself, like, yeah, I didn't start properly anyway, I'll fix it tomorrow. But if you really break it down, what's actually happening is we're taking one delayed moment and stretching it into a full reset that doesn't exist anywhere except in our head. It's strange because if we zoom out for a second, we wouldn't treat anything else like that. If you were holding a jug of milk and spilled a bit, you wouldn't say that the rest of it is now spoiled milk. You wouldn't decide that the spill somehow traveled through everything else just because it happened near it. You just clean it up and keep using the milk left in the jug. But when it comes to our own days, we don't really see it like that in the moment. We take one small bad or negative moment like a delay, an interruption, a moment we didn't start when we should have, and it quietly becomes, I'm having an off day. And once you label it that way, everything else starts adjusting around it without us even noticing. You sit a bit longer than you need to. You scroll a bit more than you planned. You tell yourself you'll get to it later, even though a part of you already knows you probably won't. And it's not even a conscious decision to quit. It's more like you've already mentally downgraded the rest of the day without realizing it. And to be honest, I still catch myself doing this sometimes, where I'll know exactly what I need to do. I'll be fully aware I could just start, but I still find myself delaying that first step just slightly, and then sitting in that gap long enough that it starts feeling harder than it already is. But now, there's at least a moment where I notice it happening, where I can just step back for a second and realize that I'm not actually stuck. I just haven't entered yet. I didn't fail anything. I didn't lose anything. I just delayed the starting point. And that small distinction changes everything, because once you stop treating procrastination like a broken day, you stop extending it. You don't need a reset. You don't need a fresh start. You don't need to wait until Monday to do something. You just need to re-enter the same day you're already in and pick up right where you leave off. And that's usually all it ever is. So if you've been stuck in that cycle where you keep putting things off and telling yourself you'll restart tomorrow or next week, or when everything finally feels right and ready again, just know we all fall into that more than we admit. I've lived in that space so many times where I thought I just needed a better moment, a cleaner start, a different version of me to finally get it together. And all it really did was it kept pushing everything further away. The reality is nothing changes until you decide to move forward from the exact spot you're in, even if it feels messy and even if it feels late. That's the part that actually breaks the cycle. Thanks for watching Rardo, and I'll see you in the next video.